Yes, students, good morning and welcome to the class. So, today we are going to start with chapter number 4, The Enemy, from your book, 12th class English book, that is Vistas. Now, this chapter is written by Pearl S. Buck. Now, it's the time to go for before you read so that we can understand the concept of the chapter very well. So, this is the story of the time of World War when an American prisoner of the war is washed ashore in a dying state and is found at the doorsteps of Japanese doctor. Now, being a doctor, what he should do? उनकी priority क्या होनी चाहिए? Should he save him as a doctor or should he hand him over to the police or the army as a patriot? Now, the concept of the stories goes like this. The scene of action is spot on a Japanese coast. Dr. Sadao Hawkins' house was a low, square, stone-built house. वो upon the rocks set था, but well above a narrow beach outlined with bent pipes. सडाओ के जो father थे ना had a deep concern for his son's education. So Sadao had been to America at 22 and वहां पे उन्होंने क्या सीखा? Could learn all that could be learned for surgery and medicine over there. ठीक है? 30 की एज में he returned back and he became famous not only as a surgeon but also as a scientist. So Sadao was not only a surgeon but he was also a scientist. Now, further आगे क्या कहते हैं? It was the time of the World War. Japan was at war with America. Dr. Sadao had not been sent abroad with the troops. Now, Japan war पे था अमेरिका के साथ, but Dr. Sadao को नहीं भेजा गया abroad with the troops. The old general, why? Because जो उनके old general थे ना, was under medical treatment. वो medical treatment पे थे, and he might need an operation. So Dr. Sadao को जापान में ही रोका गया, रखा गया. Sadao was missed hide outlines of a little island near the shore. और सडाओ ने देखा मिस्टी सा हाइड आउटलाइन दिख रहे थे उनको लिटिल आइलैंड के नियर द शोर. देन इट केम क्रीपिंग अप द बीच. देन वहां पे अप द बीच इट केम क्रीपिंग बिलो हिज हाउस, उनके घर के नीचे. हिज वाइफ हैना केम आउट एंड पुट हर हैंड्स ऑन हिज आर्म. उनकी वाइफ आई, उनका हाथ पकड़ा. इट गेव हिम प्लेजर एंड इट वाज अ वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस. Then she laid her cheeks against his arm. At this moment, both of them saw something black came out of the mist. और इसी moment उन दोनों ने क्या देखा? That something black was coming out of what? Coming out of the mist. कुछ black था जो उस mist में से बाहर आ रहा था. Something black. ठीक है? अब वो क्या था वो जो black था? Now see. Something black that was coming out of the mist. It was a man. He staggered a few steps. और वो क्या था? वो एक man था. And he was having a staggering few steps, and then the curled mist hid him again. और फिर वो जो curling सा mist था ना उसने उसको फिर से hide कर दिया. Hannah and Sadao leaned over the railing of the veranda. Hannah and Sadao, just they were leaning against the railing of the veranda, and they saw, उन्होंने देखा that their man was crawling. एक man था वो crawl कर रहा था on his hands and knees. मतलब he was injured. वो hands और knees पे crawl करता हुआ बेचारा आ रहा था. Then he fell on his face and lay there. और फिर वो सर के बल ही गिर गया, मुंह के बल गिर गया, and he just laid over there. They thought that it was perhaps a fisherman. उन्होंने सोचा कि perhaps ये कोई fisherman होगा who had been washed away from his boat. जो अपनी boat से wash away होता हुआ यहाँ पे shore पे आ गया. But when they came towards him, they saw that he was wounded. He lay motionless. जब उन पास आए and they had a close look at that, तो उन्होंने क्या पाया? That ये जो पर्सन था was not a fisherman. He was wounded. उसके बहुत घाव थे. ठीक है? And he was lying motionless. They saw his face. Face देखते ही हैना ने whisper किया that he was a white man. कि ये कौन है? He's a white man. Now Sadao began to search for the wound. घाव के लिए search किया सडाओ ने. Blood flowed. अब ब्लड जो था इट वॉज जस्ट फ्लोइंग फ्रेशली एज हिज टच. जैसे ही उन्होंने उसको छुआ ना उसकी घाव को, ब्लड वॉज फ्लोइंग फ्रीली. एंड इन ऑर्डर टू स्टैंच द फियरफुल ब्लीडिंग एंड ही पैक्ड द वुंड्स विद द सी मॉस. उन्होंने देखा इमीडिएट इस ब्लीडिंग को रोकना था तो उन्होंने जो सी मॉस होता है उसी से उन घाव को एक बार कवर कर दिया. द मैन वॉज अनकॉन्शियस. उस मैन को कोई होश नहीं था, वॉज लिटरली अनकॉन्शियस. He moaned with pain. वो दर्द से करहा रहा था. In his stupor, बेहोश था but फिर भी, but he did not awaken. लेकिन रो मतलब बेहोशी में वो चिल्ला रहा था, but was not awakened. Now Sadao muttered to his wife and he says, "What shall we do with this man? इस man के साथ हम क्या करें?" He said that the best thing that they could do was to put him back in the sea. Now wife he says, अब Sadao ने जब बोला that what shall we do with this man, अब बोला तो he says कि best चीज तो ये इसको वापस नदी में ही डाल देते हैं. Hannah agreed with it. Now the wife also agreed. She says yes, okay. But Sadao explained that it was a very difficult situation. If they sheltered a white man in their house, they would be arrested. And if they turn him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die. They were staring upon the inert figure with a curious repulsion. Now वो लोग अपनी ना inner repulsion को देख रहे थे. Now their inner soul was saying that they should protect this man. But somewhere उनका एक curious repulsion भी था. Very curiously they were being repulsed from that. कि ऐसा नहीं करना. Then they tried to find out what he was, who he was, or what he was. He looked American, the battered cap and had face lettering US Navy. They concluded that he was a sailor from an American warship. The man was a prisoner of war. He had escaped and was wounded in the back. Now, उन्होंने जब close गए and they had a close look at him and they wanted to find out that what he was and he looked American. जब उन्होंने देखा they said कि मैन अमेरिकन लग रहा है. ही इज हैविंग अ बैटर्ड कैप एंड उस कैप के ऊपर ना बहुत ही फेंट सा लेटरिंग था, उसके ऊपर लिखा हुआ था यूएस नेवी. दे कंक्लूडेड, ऐसा उन्होंने कंक्लूड किया. एंड व्हाट दे सेड दैट ही वाज अ सेलर फ्रॉम एन अमेरिकन वॉरशिप एंड मैन वॉर का प्रिजनर है एंड ही हैड एस्केप्ड फ्रॉम दैट. एंड हाउ दे नो दैट दे हैड एस्केप्ड? क्योंकि उस पर्सन की बैक में एक वुंड था. दैट इज जैसे वो भाग रहा हो और उसको किसी ने क्या किया, उस पर किसी ने बुलेट शूट किया हो. ठीक है, अब जैसे ही उस पे बुलेट शूट किया तो उसके बैक में चोट आई एज ही वाज रनिंग और एस्केपिंग फ्रॉम ओवर देयर. तो वही चीज यहाँ पे उसके साथ हो गई. Hannah asked Sadao if they were able to put him back into the sea, but Sadao hesitated. He says if the man had been whole, he could be turned over to the police without difficulty as he was his enemy. But all Americans were his enemy. But since he was only wounded, they should not throw him back to the sea. वो he says that अगर वो बिल्कुल सही होता ना तो we would have thrown him back over there. हम वापस उसको इसी sea में ही डाल देते. But still क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं है, he is not like that. ठीक है, वो अभी wounded है तो हम उसको ऐसा नहीं कर सकते that we'll throw him in the sea because ऐसा किया तो he is definitely going to die. So it's our duty that firstly हम उसे ठीक करें and then we will decide that what we have to do with him. So now they say that they will not throw him back to the sea. Now Hannah observed that there was only one thing left to do. They must carry him into their house. Sadao sure नहीं थी about the reaction of the servants कि servants कैसे react करेंगे. Hannah ने suggest किया that they must tell the servants that they intend to give him to the police. She says कि हम servants को बता देंगे कि that definitely we are going to hand him over to the police. She said that they must do so. Otherwise all of them would be in danger. उन्होंने बोला कि हाँ हमें ये करना ही होगा. Otherwise everyone, we and everyone with us are going to be in the danger. Now today they lifted together. अब together उन्होंने क्या किया? They lifted the man, and he was very light. बहुत हल्का था. They carried him up the steps into the side door of the passage, and उसको वो carry करके ले गए. कहाँ पे? To the empty bedroom. And since the man was quite dirty, Sadao suggested that if he had better be washed. If she fetched the water, he would wash the man. Hannah could not bear him to touch the man. उन्होंने ऑफर किया टू टेल मेड यूमी. Sadao took the responsibility of informing the others. Now एक pallor spread हो गया on the unconscious man's face and it moved first to stoop and feel his pulse. सबसे पहले तो उन्होंने उसकी पल्स चेक की कि उसकी धड़कन भी चल रही है या नहीं. It was faint but was there. That is वो fainted थे, वो alive थे. He put his hand against the man's cold breast. Heart was alive yet, और हार्ट भी अभी तक अलाइव था. ऐसे चेस्ट पे हाथ रख के हार्ट बीट को फील किया. Sadao observed that he would die unless operated upon. Now Sadao ने observe किया and he says कि इसे operate करना पड़ेगा unless he dies. The man was very young, perhaps not even 25. Man क्या था? Was very young, बहुत young था. Perhaps वो भी 25 भी नहीं था. The man had to be washed first. पहले इसे wash करना पड़ेगा. However, servant refused to do so. Servant से मना कर दिया. They do not want their master to heal the enemy because they say that we do not want कि हमारे master enemy को heal करें. Now Hannah washed the man till his upper body was quite clean. Sadao put his instruments upon the sterilized towel and he began to wash the man's back carefully. He asked Hannah to give him the antiseptic. ठीक है, anesthetic means बेहोशी के लिए कुछ दे देना. Now why? Because if he needed it, Hannah choked. She clapped her hands to the mouth and ran out of the room. He heard the retching in the garden and she had never seen an operation. वो वहां से भाग गई because she had never seen an operation. So उनके लिए ये बहुत ही difficult चीज थी. So he just ran away from there. Now Sadao proceeded swiftly. Hannah came in. Sadao ने उनको पूछा, ठीक है, उनको that saturate the cotton and hold it near his nostrils. And she had to move it away a little while he breathed badly. Now Sadao got busy. उन्होंने feel किया the tip of his instrument striking against something hard, and it was just near the kidney. वो कहाँ चोट थी? उनके bullet कहाँ लगा था? Just near the kidney. Then with the cleanest and most precious incision, bullet was finally out. Now the man quivered, but he was still unconscious. And Sadao gave him an injection, and the man pulse grew stronger. Okay, now the man quivered, but was still unconscious. After that, Sadao ने उन्हें एक injection दिया, and उनकी pulse जो थी वो थोड़ी stronger हो गई. Hannah had to serve the young man herself. Of none of the servants are not going to enter the room. Man grew stronger day by day. Servants ने decide किया to quit if the master keeps the enemy hidden there. On the seventh day, servants left together. Hannah carried the morning food to the prisoner. On coming back, she asked Sadao that why they could not see clearly what they ought to do. उसने बोला कि हमें जो चीजें देखनी चाहिए, जो चीज करनी चाहिए, हम वो क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? Why? What is the reason? That is, हमें इसे पुलिस को हैंड ओवर कर देना चाहिए. Why we are not handing him over to the police? In the afternoon, a messenger came in official uniform. He asked Dr. Sadao to come to the place at once, as the old general was in pain. Hannah ने breathe किया sigh of relief. When Sadao came to say goodbye, उन्होंने reveal किया अपना fear. She had thought that they were come to arrest him. अब now she says that she had always thought, वो हमेशा सोचती थी that they have come to arrest him. Sadao promised him to get rid of that man for her sake. Now Sadao ने promise किया that they are going to get rid of that man for her sake. Sadao told General about the man he had operated. General ने acknowledge किया why Sadao had indispensable to him. General ने promise किया to send the private assistant to kill the man and remove his body. Now उन्होंने Sadao को कहा leave the outer partition of the white man's room to be to the open garden while he slept. Now Sadao went home thinking over the plan. He would tell Hannah nothing, and he was surprised to see young American out of the bed and preparing to go into the garden. उन्होंने complain किया that the muscles on one side feel stiff. Dr. Sadao said that exercise and massage will be helpful. He then asked Tom, the young American, to go to the bed. Sadao slept badly that night. Next morning, क्या हुआ? Sadao वापस कहाँ गए? To the guest room, and he found him asleep. Second night also passed. The young man was still there, and he had shaved himself. There was a faint color in his cheeks, और उनकी cheeks पे there was faint color. Dr. Sadao told him that he was quite well. Okay. Okay, so as soon as it was dark, Sadao made preparation to help them. Now they decided कि वो क्या करेंगे. They knew he was quite well then, and he offered to put his boat on the shore that night. And he says that उस boat पे food भी होगा, clothing भी होंगे, and Tom might be able to row that little island not far from the coast. क्योंकि वो fortified नहीं था और वो उस island पे चला जाएगा जो submerge हो गया था एक storm के बाद में, and there was nobody over there. So as soon as it was dark, Sadao made the preparations for the escape, and he gave him the flashlight. And he asked him to give him two flashes as sunset in case of food ran out, and in case he was still there all right, he was to signal him only once. And उन्होंने warn किया not to signal in the dark for it would be seen. Now prisoner was now dressed in Japanese clothes, and Sadao waited till there was one flash from the shore. So this way we can say कि Sadao ने उनको escape करने में help किया. So he thought of nothing but himself, and he had forgotten his promise. That night Sadao waited at the dusk for the light from the island, but there was none. But एक दिन वहां से कोई light response नहीं आई. So he says that his prisoner has gone away and was saved. Sadao wondered why he could not kill the young man, though white people were repulsive. Now Sadao says कि उनको आज तक समझ में नहीं आया why he was not able to kill that person. वो उस person को क्यों नहीं मार पाए जबकि वो क्या थे? He was repulsive. The white people were repulsive. They were their enemies. But still he was having, I don't know what kind of connection they build up कि उन्होंने उनका मन नहीं किया to kill him and he didn't kill him. उन्होंने उनको नहीं kill किया. So 1 week after the operation, Sadao felt that general was well enough to be spoken to about it. तो उन्होंने general से इस बारे में बात की. The general asked the doctor whether he had not promised to kill the man for the doctor, and he then confessed the truth. He had been suffering a great deal. So he thought of nothing but himself. तो उन्होंने बोला मैंने सिर्फ अपने बारे में सोचा और कुछ नहीं. And he had forgotten his promise. So then Sadao finally उन्होंने क्या किया? From there was, तो उन्होंने वहां पे उसको escape करवा दिया, and he just waited for the light from that island. But the last day when Sadao decided that he was safe and gone, तो उस वक्त वहां से कोई light नहीं आई, and he was just wondering why he could not kill the young man, though white people were very repulsive. Okay, so this is the story of enemy. Now enemies can be friend also. आप एक enemy को भी अपना friend बना सकते हो, बस एक आपकी inner insight होना चाहिए. ठीक है? So this is the chapter we say. So I hope you all understood it nicely. Yes. So this is all for the class, and now we'll be meeting in our next class.